Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's literally nothing because it never made it past the pilot. Welcome to Greatest Shows Never Made. Today we are talking about the ill-fated 1956 pilot for
The Adventures of Superpup.
My name is Kevin Schultz, and here are my constituents.
Oh, this is where we go. I'm Destiny.
Derrick. And I'm Justin.
All right. 1956, they already tapped the superhero market clean by doing just Superman, so clearly they had to move on to something else.
They really had to milk the franchise any way they could. It just, everything's been done.
Everything's been done. Superman?
Batman, I think?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Batman hadn't been done yet.
Not yet. So Superman had been done, so we knew that's it. We gotta find a way to change this format. To which brings us to the wonderful fever dream that is Superpup. Initial thoughts.
It should have been a cartoon. It just straight up should have been a cartoon. There's just so many bits in there where they have the not Perry White, Barry Bite, was it?
Barry Bite, I think.
Barry Bite, I think was his name.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just recontextualize the series. This isn't Crypto the Superdog, right? This is Bark Bent.
Bark Bent.
Supposed to be Clark Kent, but a dog.
Could have been Bark Kent.
Not Bark Kent.
Too much on the copyright. I don't know.
Well, it's Clark Kent. It's got a rhyme, so fully.
Yeah, and I think we gotta start with the beginning on this one.
Yeah.
Because right from the get-go, this pilot was just insane. So right from the get-go, you have your villain, Dr. Sheepdick. Was that his name?
Sheepdip.
Dr. Sheepdick.
Who looks like Charles Manson, by the way.
Absolutely.
No. Like with the hair and looks like Charles Manson.
I feel like you say that a lot.
Yeah.
It gets really weird for
Most things in his life look like Charles Manson.
No, but actually, here's the image of Sheepdip on the screen, and here's Charles Manson. I'm just saying, there's similarities there. Anyway,
I actually almost have to agree with you though.
Yeah.
Also, I have to give some credence to the most ill thought out but most successful jail escape ever. Derrick, I know you had some comments about this.
Yeah. I don't understand. How does a dog not hear him cutting through with a hacksaw? How does he get a hacksaw in jail anyway?
It wasn't even a hacksaw; it was a wood saw.
Yeah,
it was a wood saw.
And he's cutting through, and the dog perks his ears up and looks, and then it's nothing.
So we've established that they have the canine hearing going on. We've established this.
He cuts through one, but then just kicks the entire door. He doesn't even cut through all of them. He really could have just done that at the beginning. Why not?
The thing that confused me as a follow-up afterwards is after they've escaped and that guy's investigating, he obviously sees the hole in the bars, opens the door, and then looks inside.
He was too busy, Justin, looking inside that cage every square inch for probably a good 30 to 40 seconds of actual screen time.
It's supposed to be dumb. It's supposed to be stupid.
I don't think it was though.
Well, they had a sign that said they didn't go this way. Clearly it was supposed to be gimmicky and stupid.
Yeah.
You can't think about it from an intelligent approach because it wasn't supposed to be intelligent at all.
No,
they're just supposed to be saying that's just supposed to entertain you and look at it.
But thinking at it from that way makes it fun to take pick apart.
Oh God.
Although
everyone's pretentious these days.
Well, the problem though, is
sips coffee.
This should have been a serious
with my pen and pen pad, I will.
The problem with having it though, try to be comedic. The problem is that they even lose that because they have the cop looking through the cage for 30 to 40 seconds of screen time, and this didn't even feel like it. This was
film stock was not cheap in those days.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't. And for as low grade as most of this was, I'm surprised they didn't just loop footage that they shot of him looking through it. Once they had to show it on screen for almost a minute.
A surprising amount of cash went into the heads because they were not.
Oh,
super
except for the main
animatronics.
Characters.
I liked it.
I liked it. They had mouths moving and stuff like that, which was a lot more than I would ask for. They had multiple eyes for Barry Bite. Oh yeah, so the whole reason why I said this should have been a cartoon in the first place. You actually have eye popping effects come out of some of the masks, which is funny. But I'm just shit. This should just be a cartoon. The amount of cash that went into making all these props and costumes should have just been spent.
Yeah, and the thing is, Max Fleischer Superman cartoons existed at this time.
Yeah.
So there was a good medium of animation.
Yeah, there's a precedence for it too, right? So,
absolutely.
They can have that be the spin-off of that rather than the George Reeve spin-off type thing, yeah.
Really? Because I like the idea of having a little mouse character pop out of a drawer.
Yeah, I love the mouse.
Actually, the mouse is pretty great.
The best.
The mouse is pretty great.
Yep, that's Superpup. And only you and I know that Superpup is really Bark Bent, star reporter for the Daily Bugle. Wow!
mouse is
Mouse is incredible. Okay,
My favorite part about the mouse is when it pointed out a continuity error.
Oh my god!
Yeah, stop to tell us that the car. Right?
Yeah, we know the car is different, but that's because they didn't want to scratch up the other one.
Perhaps you wonder why Professor Sheepdip and Wolfingham are using a different car this time. Well, this is gonna be a rough ride, and they didn't want to wreck the new car.
They literally pointed out their own
that.
mistake.
Yeah, that's fun though.
Oh, God.
Did any of you ever notice how every time Superpup was mentioned, Bark Bent would be in the office and say, he'd be like, "Oh, why do like?" He always say something.
Oh, I'm definitely not Superpup.
And that was just casual conversation for him.
I just wanted to tell you what a fine job I think you and Pamela did in helping the police put Professor Sheepdip in jail.
We could never have done it without the help of Superpup. Oh, it was nothing. Why are you taking the bow? It's a think you know Superpup. Me? Well, anyway.
Like, here's the thing. I can totally get that the show is for 5-year-olds, but what kind of lesson are you teaching your audience when you throw a radioactive material thing outside of your window and it blows up like Hiroshima? That happened.
Come, I shall give you a small demonstration of its deadly power.
That did happen,
actually. That did happen. They just threw like a vial of whatever.
And of course they had to have a German accent sign.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
As the villain.
Of course.
Everything you're saying is everything that's wrong with like most superhero things. Like obviously it's not real. Like it's like this is like 56 we said, and they still haven't learned from it. That's pretty much what the like synopsis is. Is it's 60 years later, and these unrealistic like throwing things out the window, looking around a cage for 30 seconds, like that stuff still happens on TV.
Yeah.
At least this was somewhat like funny and entertaining.
You actually?
Cute.
Oh no! Like this was. Funny
It was
and
cute.
entertaining.
Like I like the idea that I didn't have to like think the whole like for once I could just put something on and just be like, yay.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like, oh, okay, what's happening? Oh, I missed 5 seconds. I have no idea. Oh God.
No, it's okay. You had a mouse to tell you what happened.
Yeah, I love
happening.
it. But did they understand the mouse? Because when that one time when the girl comes in and the mouse comes up and is like, hi, blah blah blah, she's gone or whatever, and then goes down. But then when it grabs the phone, it can't talk, and I'm like, what's going on? It's kind of like Stewie. What's happening there?
I was just thinking that actually.
Right?
That's definitely a Stewie thing.
Yeah, but see, all these things that we're talking about are literally still things that are done on TV now.
That's fair.
All of it. So it's kind of interesting that 1956.
That mouse though. I think more shows.
That mouse never got a name.
I don't know if it ever got a name, but I think more shows could benefit from having a character that just pops out of nowhere and starts giving you exposition.
The one character that breaks the fourth wall for you.
One character that does.
Yeah, that happens.
It's like a Deadpool character, pretty much.
Pretty much a Deadpool character. We're equating Deadpool to a 1956 puppet mouse. Good to know.
Well, I mean, that's where I guess they got that. See, everything from this show is just taken. It's all just, like, it really, when you think about it, they're just copying Superpup. Everyone's just copying Superpup.
Everyone's just copying
Everyone's just copying Superpup. Like, everything's pretty much, they still make the same mistakes and do the same things, so it's, like, modeled after Superpup.
Now, one thing I gotta wonder with Superpup, though, Superman's got a pretty big rogues gallery. Or at least a pretty famous one.
So they felt the need to invent.
Who?
Yeah.
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 I get it, it's 1956, and maybe the rogues gallery wasn't fully there yet.
Yeah.
Was Lex Luthor not a thing yet?
Yeah. You'd figure in the pilot you'd, like, introduce Lex,
Was Lex Luthor a thing in 1956? Or is this basically like, hey, we have an idea for this character
also, like,
that
this
flies
era,
in the air, and let's make it a fucking dog.
Also, this era Superman didn't have ongoing storylines as we know them today. It was very much like, oh, he's going to save the day in this situation. So, like, it's a different deal. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So not as much. Lex Luthor was, like, maybe, like, a scientist villain at one point. Wasn't his like, arch nemesis.
Did anybody else find it very strange,
That's
though?
like the 70s.
Did anybody find this very strange, though, that the way too diminutive Barry Bite was his name?
Was played by a little person.
Not what I was going with on that.
Sorry, yeah.
That was a great thing to bring up.
I'm sorry, you said diminutive, and I was
I
just
thought it
are
was
you
hilarious
seriously gonna...
Half the time he's standing on his desk. But what I mean, though, is like,
Yeah.
oh no, there's going to be a bomb coming by Professor Sheepdick. Quick, where's Bark Bent? Get me Bark Bent. Why is Bark Bent not in here? And he rambles like this for a good, 10, 15 seconds where Bark Bent... And what are you going to do with Bark when he gets in?
Call the police, like, I should have... Oh, shit.
I hope this works out all right. I hope. 2 and 2 makes 4. Barkman! 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 Barkman!
Wake up! The chief's calling you! Wake up! Why don't you get on the ball?
Barkman!
What's up, Chief?
Hurry up! I got a bomb in here! Hurry up! Hurry!
Right? I think it's how the conversation goes.
Because we sure as shit know that Barkman's not going to save anything. This editor-in-chief has just made a big deal about pointing out throughout this episode how weak and terrible Bark is. Everybody said the same thing about him. Yeah. Everyone.
I mean, yeah. You gotta establish characters to the youngins, and the best way to do that is by just saying things over and over again.
Yeah, that seems to be how a lot of this episode
I still liked it. I liked it. I thought it was cute, and I didn't have to pay attention. And it wasn't Wonder Woman.
It wasn't Wonder Woman.
And it wasn't Wonder... Like, I started with that.
Not Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Please watch.
Honestly, because that was, like, our very first one, everything after is, like, gold. So she says. Kevin's like, I'll take that challenge. No, yeah, I'd love to redo it now. Let's just go get big giant dog heads and remake that ourselves with all the corrections that you guys have.
I mean,
yeah, I can't have these plot holes.
All right, so
this serious of a story. We
Okay.
can't have these plot holes in it.
So usually when we do this, we've been talking about what would happen had the show continued. But I like what Destiny's doing here. I want to know, like, if we had to do a dark Christopher Nolan reboot of Superpup.
oh my god. First off, Superpup would be like a Doberman or something.
Yeah.
But at the end, he would
Really
just, like,
hardcore.
break his own wall and take off his head. Like, that's what I think I would do at the end of that. It would just be like, nah, and, like, really dark music, and, like, do that whole, like, Michael Bay around him thing as his head comes off, and he's like, I'm not even a dog, I'm a person!
Oh my god.
Like, pretty much that Family Guy thing, but, you know, Christopher Nolan style. I'm a broom. Bam, 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 bam.
Oh my god.
You know? Anything that if you just, like, added in some sort of, like, dark twist to it would be really dramatic and fun. But again, that's why I like Superpup. It wasn't that. I didn't have to deal with any of this shit. Like, there was not even, like, dramatic pauses. Like, it was just, like, it was great. It was
Its biggest strengths, for sure, was that it lacked the basic needs of storytelling.
Yeah, just...
I just didn't know how they would carry this on through a series if they wanted. It's just not sustainable. It's like they just did all. It's like, okay, how are they going to... Every episode is going to be the same sort of format.
Well, yeah. If you take a look at the George Reeves series, it's about this era. Yeah, it's basically...
Maybe it's even the same German dog every single too.
Dr.
Sheep
Sheep
Dip doing
Dr.
something
Sheep
else.
Dip, oh yeah.
I just can't
This
believe
one
it was
he's
20
gonna-
minutes long. I thought it was over, like, they kind of, like, threw in a half story there or something. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what
we're
happened.
we're not Lois Lane gets kidnapped because she gets
Out
told,
of nowhere, yeah.
hey, come to this tea party thing.
Welcome to the tea party, Miss Porter.
What? That's like a like a white van for adults tea parties. Come into my tea party.
Oh
Like it's just like so weird. Like nobody
We have
would just
Crumpets
go.
and Downton Abbey on the
Come
TV.
on down. Like no.
Come on in.
And she just like instantly opens the door. Ah! What? No, they didn't even lure in first. Like she could have ran at that point too. Why does no one run? Everyone just like freezes in shock, I guess.
But Destiny, that's
Fight or flight, but they just freeze.
These are
Destiny,
dogs. They
like,
can run fast,
that's
man.
the thing
And they
that
can
happens-
fight.
But that just happens in kids' cartoons. You just gotta like not question it sometimes. Right?
See, I'm the one that's enjoying the fact that there's no like complicated, and he's the one that's sassing me back for it. Okay, yeah, totally, 100%.
And
Come full
back
circle.
in your court.
Ugh.
So
Synopsis.
let's say it's run for its first season. It is again to the season finale. They need a big cliffhanger for the next season. Where did you see Superpup?
There's a cat!
Yeah, okay, I can get down with the cat.
Well, has anybody
There's
actually
just a
noticed-
cat.
Has anybody actually noticed there is a big issue here? So the mouse in this is definitely sentient, right? So, which means that most animals are probably are anthropomorphic. So yet there's not a single cat working in any position of power in here, which tells
Listen,
me
I'm just saying.
Casting hates cats.
Well, that too. I'm just saying, Kevin, it was 50s America.
hey man, cat lives matter.
And yet every superhero now
Yeah.
that's a female has a cat all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That is true. And of course, I've noticed it's all the same dog for the most part.
Yeah.
Well,
not
all of them.
They got one working mold.
Yeah, one
Before
working
everyone
mold.
started breeding like mofos, you know?
Yeah.
I just didn't really like that they just like the heads are gargantuan, and I also didn't like the fact that the heads took turns whether or not they wanted to move when they were talking.
Oh yeah.
And the way they walk too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam, ba bam, what the fuck?
Okay, there was a couple shots where they're like driving in the car and you can definitely see the driver's wearing one of those heads. But they're definitely swerving wildly and don't have control of those cars. So what I'm wondering
on a straight road.
So what I'm wondering is was some stunt driver told, listen, we're gonna stick this on you, you're gonna be blind.
You're just gonna
race
drive.
down this desert. Well, luckily no real life animals were harmed in making this production.
Oh god.
But many people were.
Many people were.
And without further ado, I think that about wraps it up.
Yes.